All right, and we are live. Welcome back with Murphy Mac to another episode of the Fitness Beginner Podcast, where we help you get started on your fitness journey. How's it going, everybody? Hope y'all having a great day. Today, we got a little bonus episode for y'all. I don't usually do this style, but we have a very special guest coming onto the podcast today, and I'm very excited because it's a topic that I'm actually pretty interested in, and y'all will see as we get into the interview. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. This is Mrs. Kerri Walsh. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. So Kerri is a professional in the fitness AI side of. I know it's kind of new. It's kind of a new thing that's going on, and I'm actually very interested in it. I've actually done a podcast on AI before because I'm a big fan of ChatGPT. Like I use it all the time. I use it for a lot of my like outlines and things for my podcast, so I'm very familiar with it. I haven't dived like too far into the weeds of AI, but as far as using like ChatGPT, I'm pretty familiar with it. So this topic is very interesting to me. So I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself and tell everybody a little gist about you, and then we can go from there.
That's great. Well, Murphy, thank you so much for having me today. So I lead an app called Fitness AI, which is a fitness strength training based app that leverages AI to help create personalized workout for users. This app has been around for a number of years. It was one of the first on the scene as far as AI for fitness goes, and so it's something that we've been working on for a long time. Obviously, AI has taken tremendous strides since that time. ChatGPT, which I also use every single day, wasn't even something we knew about at the time that this app was originally developed. So it's a super exciting time in the space, a lot of interesting technologies, a lot of interesting businesses, a lot of interesting fitness technology starting to emerge. So we're also really excited about the topic. So happy to chat about it with you today.
So how long has fitness AI been around?
Yeah, so it was launched back in 2019. It was founded out of Y Combinator, which is a startup accelerator program. And so over the past, 5 years, our technology has been doing machine learning based on all of the workouts that we have in the system. And so it's over 6 million today. And so that amazing data set helps feed and personalize workouts for our users in the app.
Yeah, I saw that on your website. So where exactly do those workouts come from? Like where is it pulling those from to use?
Yeah, so we've got a really robust database of exercises that people do for strength training, and then those workout programs and plans are curated based on things like what you have access to. So you're at home or you're at the gym, if you only have dumbbells today, or you've got the full setup. And so the database is full of exercises that are well known, tried, true, trusted, and then, the AI really is what's putting together the workouts and personalizing that. Our programs are based on progressive overload. And so it's curated to help you kind of create gains over time and evolve and progress.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. So I actually recently I've been in I'm getting into more of the endurance side of things. So I actually use an app that's I guess you would consider it AI. It's kind of an algorithm based where it generates workouts for me. You may have heard of it. It's called Motive. I don't know if you've heard
Mhm.
of it, but so I use that for I did Ironman last year, so I use that.
Congrats.
So yeah, thank you. It was the app was very intuitive, very simple, and I really liked it. So I'm interested. I also like to weight train a lot too. So I'm very interested in your app as it's more tailored to those workouts instead of the endurance side of things. So I think that's pretty unique. So
Yeah, and strength training is really our core focus.
mhm.
And so this app is really great for users who are trying to figure out what to do when they get to the gym. And maybe, having a personal trainer isn't cost effective or possible for them. It helps really kind of take the thinking out, and it's a tried and trusted way to help you develop and evolve in strength. So this app is really popular with people that are, I would say, beginner to intermediate on their kind of strength training journey. And it's easy. It makes, we make so many decisions all day every single day, and so going into the gym, loading up your app and having that perfect workout for you is really kind of the core value prop of the application.
So I want to go ahead and hit you with the big question. Do you see this your app replacing personal trainers like altogether?
Yeah, I don't. I think that there's room for everybody. I think that apps and technology in general make things easy for us in our day-to-day lives. So they make things more accessible, both financially as well as accessibility wise. But I think that there is really something special about personal training and about that human connection that, I think that we are still years away from even potentially replicating that with technology. So I think that there's different people that are on different parts of their fitness journeys as well that will want a personal trainer for very specific things or crave that human connection that an app won't be able to replace ever. What the our app and others will start to do is having more advanced chatbots and things like that can answer more human like, but really it will never replace that feeling of going to the gym, seeing your bud that you've been working out with forever. I think that to me will never go away.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think you have two different kinds of people: people that can take the app and run with it and do perfectly fine, and then you'll have some people that they have to have that human connection, like you mentioned. They have to have that back and forth conversation, and sometimes people just need somebody there to like physically teach them too. If they're a very beginner, they need somebody to kind of train them. So I think it's pretty unique. I'm one of the people where if you give me the plan, I'll follow it to a T, and I'll be good to go. So I don't necessarily have to have that person there teaching me in person. But I like that. So, what kind of metrics does the app use to generate the workouts for a specific person?
Yeah, so it really is based on, like I said before, the inputs that you're putting in. So it's based on what you have access to, what you're able to, bench press and squat, like what your current level is, and then it evolves over that. We've also recently implemented a new technology called Body Scan. And so this is sort of like the evolution of what was a pretty simple machine learning kind of AI that curated workouts for you. We're now elevating that to be much more personalized. And so again, really the what I love about AI technology is, and what we're trying to implement at Fitness AI, is making challenging and really expensive things more accessible to the consumer. So now with your phone, you can load up Body Scan, takes a 3D image of you, and then gives you body biometrics similar to, I'm sure you're familiar with, a DEXA scan. For people
Hmm.
early in their fitness journey are like, what are you even talking about? But think of it like a smart scale where it tells you your body fat percentage and some measurements. And so it's a way for you to be able to track your evolution and your progress through your fitness program. And so that's another, some of those kind of inputs are what we're starting to leverage much more than was in the past.
Yeah, I like that body scan feature. I think that's pretty unique. So I've done something similar. I've done a StyQ machine. I'm sure you've heard of
Mm-hmm.
that one before.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting when I first saw it. But now that you can do it with your cell phone, oh, that's pretty cool right there. How
Yeah. And
accurate?
those tests are,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say those tests are expensive too, whether you're using
Mhm.
DEXA or the one you mentioned. Body scan is $20 and you have access to that for, you know, a full year. And so you can just continue to track your progress, where a DEXA scan can be upwards of $200, $300, $400, depending on where you are per scan. And so that's what, the accessibility to me is super exciting.
So you said it's only $20 a year?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's very affordable. I assumed it was going to be a subscription like a month per month thing, but
Yeah. And that,
that's really affordable.
yeah, it is. And that's the point, right? Is that Fitness AI app is personal trainer in your pocket, and that's like $80 a year. And so that's what is amazing about technology, is that it really opens the door for more people to have access to tools to help them elevate.
So how accurate would you say your body scan machine is so far? I know it's pretty new and you're still probably working out the kinks, but if you had to give it on a scale, how would you rate that?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate. We actually partnered with a best-in-class tech provider called Prism Labs that is doing some really amazing stuff in the space. And so I think they have a bunch of research papers and it's a couple percent. So you should be able to see not a huge difference between your smart scale at home or the scans you're doing at the gym or otherwise, and this type of technology. So the goal is for it to be super accurate. It's in within a couple percent at this point, which I think for being pretty early is quite impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. So how do you see the AI kind of changing or revolutionizing fitness in the next like 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, the truth is, I think we're still a ways off from it revolutionizing, right? I think
Hmm.
that consumer expectation is continuing to increase as we start to talk about AI and understand AI and utilize tools like ChatGPT that, it sounds like it's now part of your day. So the more familiar you become with those things, the higher expectation. And so, what we'll start to see, I believe, with AI is things like I mentioned, very personalized products, tools, and technologies that bring true personalization to you. We've been toying with the idea of personalization for a few years now, but it's light touch, and you see it from everywhere from e-com to fitness apps and grocery shopping and beyond. Light touch personalization, but as AI evolves, it will become much more sophisticated, and I think that is a real opportunity that we're super excited about, is to explore how to make these experiences really unique to users. And so, in the next batch, I think that's what you'll really start to see. 10 years from now, I don't know. I have no idea.
Sky's the limit with AI right
It's
now.
true, for better
So
or for worse.
yeah, one way that I think I see it kind of happening in the future is basically taking someone's medical records, throwing it into a large language model like ChatGPT or something, or a fitness AI app, and then it could really spit out very, very specific plan, not only working out but mobility wise, medicine wise, things like that. So I think that'll be very cool to see. Obviously, that's going to have some privacy issues there, so they'll have to work all that out, I'm sure. But I can see people how that's going to change, and you can get very, very specific on how to personalize somebody's training routine. So I think that's
Yeah,
pretty unique.
100%. And I think you nailed it. On data and privacy, I think that's one of the biggest concerns and one of the things
Hmm.
that individuals as well as companies need to really be spending the time to get that right. Especially as you start to bring in things like healthcare and start to utilize things like we're using with body scan with biometrics. The more information you have about a person, the more you need to really be focused on protecting the data and privacy. So a less sexy side of what we're talking about today, but really
Hmm.
important. But I agree. I think that we're starting to see early stages of it, like we're doing with body scan. But I think there's so much more that can be done. The way that today technologies are implementing Apple Health Kit data too to help you everything that your phone knows about you can be populated into the apps and tools that you're using, again, to make things seamless, to make your life easy, to take the challenges and the decisions out of things. That's where this technology really is amazing.
So speaking of the privacy side of things, what are some risks that you see with AI, in not only in fitness but just in general? Do you see it there being a negative? Well, obviously there could be negatives. But like, do you see people fighting against this adoption of AI, and what are some of those risks that you could foresee there?
Yeah, I mean, there will always be people that are against progress, especially in technology. Technology is scary for people. You and I are using ChatGPT every single day, but I bet if you brought it up at your Thanksgiving table, Aunt Sue would be like, "Oh no, I wouldn't ever." And so there is that long tail of adoption for sure. I think that as a company that is in the business of dealing with consumer information, we really, really take very serious protection about the data, especially when you're passing back and forth with language models or other kind of technology service providers, what protections are in place. So an example, as you're sharing information with body scan, making sure that that third party that you're using doesn't then store your images or your information on their servers to train their models. You want to make sure that you're protecting your consumer at all costs, and that's what we really focus on, is making sure that you're not just sending information out into the universe and crossing your fingers, that there are very clear protective parameters. Similar to how on your phone, when you have Face ID, right? When Apple first implemented that, people were really worried about data and, is my picture being stored and sent all over? And it's just stored on your device. And so that's the way that, Apple kind of created protection so that that risk was de-risked. And so, being super mindful of what you're doing with user and consumer information and making sure that there are policies and procedures in place is step one, really.
It's funny you mentioned saying Chat GPT at the Thanksgiving table because so actually just recently my mom did something with Chat, like she sent something with Chat GPT, and it blew my mind. I was like, I didn't even know my mom knew what Chat GPT was, and she was over here using it. I got to talk to her about it, and she's like, yeah, I use it every day. My mom's a high school teacher. She was like, yeah, I use it all the time to write lesson plans and all kinds of things like that. I was like, wow, I didn't. My mom's in her 50s. I was like, hey, I'm pretty impressed with you, mom. You're in the
Yeah,
in
go
the know.
mom.
I thought that was
That's
pretty cool.
amazing. Yeah, and it's a really powerful tool, and it's interesting to me as we start to see people accept this technology, what they're using it for. So
Mhm.
lesson plans for a teacher, amazing use case. Workout programs, like you were saying earlier, really great use case. Um, I use it to help kind of with my writing, making sure that there aren't typos, grammatical errors, the tone's correct, just to gut check, double check things.
Mhm.
And so these are easy use cases, but it's so fun to see how people are starting to implement them into their daily lives.
So I know we're basically talking about more of the physical side of things here, but do you see AI like playing a role in improving people's mental health as well? Maybe monitoring mental health, improving it, things like that.
Absolutely. I mean, think about, you can imagine a world where people are doing meditation and mindfulness now with apps like Headspace and Calm.
Hmm.
People are tracking how they feel with their whoops and with their Aura rings. Aura is connecting biometrics to understand sleep patterns and habits. And so when you think about AI, not as some crazy robot that exists somewhere in the ether, but really about machine learning and algorithms that are learning you and understanding you and then resurfacing your data in other ways based on other information that they have. So I think that with mental health, I think just some of the mindfulness of mental health, right? And understanding things like stress moments and reactions and sleep and recovery. I absolutely see it as being a real tool. Um, a major tool to unlock some of the mystification of mental health. And so I love those use cases as well.
Yeah, you mentioned the Aura Ring. So my wife actually just got an Aura Ring like this week, and she's in love with that thing already. But speaking of the wearables, how do you see like AI being incorporated into where like the Ring, the Apple Watches? I don't know if there are any other devices like the Whoop Band. That's kind of a new one on the market. So do you see it changing from what they're already doing now? Just some trying to think of what else it could do. I feel like they already do so much. I just don't see how you can do any more. But I'm sure there's a way. They always find a way.
They do, yeah. And so I think Apple Watch, Whoop, and Aura to me are kind of the top three. Garmin also does a really good job
Hmm.
for people that are runners and endurance athletes such as yourself. Um, Look, I think that all of these companies are in the lab today cooking up what's next. And so I think that we will start to see new implementations of AI, simple ways like, not what's next for a chatbot, but having kind of more of an assistant helping guide you through things that your body or your activities are telling it that there might be a gap, whether that's water consumption, sleep, physical activity, mental tips, tricks, and tools. So I think we'll start to see that evolve, and I'm thinking of it less about like AI again as this big scary thing, but these incremental improvements over time that truly are AI at work to help inform and progress um, parts of your life. And so I think, people that are data junkies, such as myself, that live for Whoop and live for what it's telling them on their sleep score and recovery core and Aura Ring as well. Um, it's fun, it's also fun and kind of takes that scariness away from the thought of AI.
So do you see, which, all right, I think I already know your answer on this, but do you see AI as making fitness more inclusive or kind of less inclusive? Like it may create some kind of barrier there. So what do you think about that?
100% more inclusive and really, bringing it back to what we're doing at Fitness AI is it really is about making things like personal training that are expensive and sometimes scary and time consuming super accessible. And so that I think is one of the most beneficial things is accessibility of things that maybe were challenging before, and personal training, having a personal trainer in your pocket that really knows you, knows your limitations, knows your capabilities, knows what you did yesterday. The sky's the limit on kind of how far we can go with that use case, but I certainly think that you know technology, when done right and done well, does help make our lives easier, more efficient, takes the decision making out of it. And so yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I really like this question because my podcast is tailored more towards beginners, like people trying to get started and things like that. And something that I hear a lot is people tend to feel intimidated or kind of scared to
Yeah.
go into a public gym. So anything that I think we can do to make fitness, a gym, more inclusive, I think is good. So things like y'all are doing with Fitness AI, go ahead and giving them a workout plan before they ever step foot in the gym, so they know exactly what they're doing. I think that helps a
Yeah.
lot. It goes a long way with getting more people into fitness because I feel like a lot of people they still are intimidated by the public gym. So I think that's pretty
100%.
cool.
And the machines are intimidating and challenging. I think everybody has like their first gym story where they were trying to figure something out. And that's something we have in the app is we have these avatars that actually show you how to move on the strength training machines that are there. And so that I think also kind of helps with that accessibility and helps kind of take that nervous factor out. Um, and you don't have to pull up your YouTube and spend a bunch of time figuring it out. It's right there in the app. So it makes that a bit simpler and easier.
Yeah, anything we can do to get more people in the gym is always a win for me.
Exactly.
That's what I'm literally
Agreed.
trying to that's what I'm
Same
trying to
here.
do with the podcast here. That's kind of the whole reason I started it. So still not getting better at it, but I've come to the conclusion that gym is just not for everybody. But the more people, the better.
It's true. Movement is key. And that's another thing I think today, there's just so many more options. Whether you want to start by lifting weights, like maybe that's too advanced for somebody. Maybe you start with walking. And there's lots of tools, technologies, and programs today that can help you just, start with your steps or do a couch to 5K program to start to run or, do yoga in your living room or go to the gym. There are all of these options today to make fitness exercise more inclusive, more accessible. And it's just so important to longevity and general health, mental, physical, all of it. And so it's something I'm super passionate about as well. So we share that.
Yeah, I like the app giving you personalized workouts because it'll start you where you need to be starting at, not an
Exactly.
advanced program. I feel like a lot of people they jump into the gym and go 100% from day one, which is
Mhm.
for majority of people they should not be doing that. They should start like you said in your living room, just doing body weight workouts in your living room. That would do wonders for most people. But I
Yeah.
think a lot of people they go too fast and then they end up getting injured or they get hurt or they push themselves too hard and then they quit going. They stop. So I think
Exactly.
having a more tailored routine to you specifically that will start you at a beginner level where you need to be started at, I think that's going to be good and it's going to keep people in fitness longer than they typically would stick to it. So I think that's pretty that's a good sales point for the app too.
Yeah, agree, and that's the goal, right? Is to get people moving, and to start with some of the healthcare crisis that we have today, just through things like physical activity, that a little bit goes a long way. And you don't have to start signing up for an Ironman, right? Like you just
Mhm.
start with one small thing. And so that's what motivates me. We have a variety of different fitness apps at Apex. And so we really have something for everybody. And that's, what I love is the breadth of this category. And the work that you're doing, talking about all different topics in healthcare and physical activity and fitness. There's so much. And I really believe there's something for everybody. You have to just find what excites you and what you want to
Mhm.
do the next day. It doesn't have to be daunting or scary. AI workouts, both of those topics are true here. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I always tell people try different types of working out. Try all of them because you'll find that you like some more than others. And you never know what you like if you don't try it. Most people will just go to your traditional gym, do a traditional bodybuilding workout, and then call it a day. Well, there's so many different forms of exercise nowadays. I mean, you have CrossFit, you have endurance training, there's so much powerlifting, bodybuilding, there's so many different things you can do. And I don't think people they don't give it enough chance or they don't try different ones, so they never really figure out which one you like. So I would say try them all, find the ones you like, and then stick to that one. So
That's right. Totally agree.
do you see AI helping people with disabilities? So more specifically in fitness industry, can it make it more accessible for people with disabilities? I think AI kind of with the Elon Musk thing that he's doing, he's trying to help people with disabilities, but can you see a way of AI helping them in their fitness side of things?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it goes back to just the very simple value prop of what technology can do, which is make things really personalized for you. And so whatever that disability is, to be able to have a tool that can help you in the areas that you're able to work out, that you're physically
Mhm.
capable of doing things, that allow you to select what you have access to for tools or don't have access to be able to have that personalized program for you. To me, that's a super exciting use case for AI. Is really that's where personalization is wonderful.
So does fitness AI already have that feature kind of built into it? Like if you have a certain disability, you put it in the app and it'll kind of work around that already.
We don't have disability specific. We have,
Mhm.
the tools that you have access to and body parts that you want to work out. But that's a really great idea. I love that. I'll
Yeah,
bring that one back to the product team.
yeah, I think that would be unique because when we think of disability, we think of somebody that may have lost a limb or something, but there's a lot more disabilities out there than just that. There's a lot more that goes into it. So I think I think AI can really help disability. I know we're at the beginning stages of things, but in the future, I can really see how it could help people in that sense of things. So let me see. We kind of hit on privacy already. Ethical use of data. So what is fitness AI's kind of policy around storing people's data? I know you said you don't want to store it, but like what is kind of y'all's protocol when it comes to specifically for y'all's app?
Yeah, so the I mentioned before we have a really robust library of workouts. Those are not specific to users, so they're completely anonymized, and so the information that's fed into our algorithm is not personal information, right?
Hmm.
It's just a workout. And the other thing that has been a really hot topic for us when implementing the body scan technology was what I mentioned before, is just making sure that none of the information that we are processing for the body scan is being sent to some other server to be used for their learning models. So we take that really seriously. And so that's some of the stuff that we've been doing to make sure that our user information is safe.
So how do you train the body scan algorithm? Kind of like how does that work? Do you take like a bunch of scans of people and compare them, and that's how it trains, or how is that working specifically?
So that one we leave up to the experts over at Prism Labs.
Hmm.
That's something that they've been working on for years and years and years. And even what's really impressed me about Prism, and you'll start to see them pop up more. They just announced a collaboration with Noom as well. is that they are constantly evolving. So, when they first implemented the technology, they realized that for bodybuilders, people that are very, very lean, but larger body mass, it was throwing the algorithm all out of whack. And so over
Hmm.
the past 6 months, they've improved the algorithm for that demographic for true athletes 2 times that's ready for public consumption. And so that's something where, I really leave that to the true experts. And so Prison Labs is amazing, and they've been doing a lot of work on that over time. We've been so impressed with the strides that they've made just, since we met them about 6 months ago. So things are moving quick.
Yes, it's funny you mentioned the bodybuilders that use the scan. So the first time I did it, I didn't believe the scan at all. I was like, this is way off. There's no way this is close. Because it said like my body fat percentage was way higher than I thought it was. I mean, I still don't know how accurate it was at the time. I'm considering myself a little more on the leaner side. I actually just did a bodybuilding show about 3 months ago. So I'm
Oh,
typically
congrats.
more on the leaner side of things. So I was kind of confused when I saw the results, and I wasn't too I didn't believe in it too much, but I believe that's like you said, they're getting better at it. They're still training the models and things, so I'm sure that's gotten better over time.
Yeah, and I'm sure as somebody that's living by those numbers, you're very upset to see the higher body fat percentage
Hmm.
than you were expecting coming off of a competition. And so that's, something that technologies really need to take into consideration too, is that, a 4% swing for some people is totally fine, right? You do your scale at the doctor's office. It's definitely different than your one at home. But for true athletes, and especially in the bodybuilding and wrestling communities, I would say,
Hmm.
every half an inch really matters. And so that's where, the more advanced that these tools become, the broader the use cases will be.
How do you think AI will change like fitness and health overall, like the way people view fitness and health overall? Do you kind of think may just kind of stay the same, or do you think it will? I think it will make people realize more that they need to be participating in like fitness, being active, their overall health. I think the AI will kind of, with all the data they can study at one time, I think it'll bring to light some of those things that people are missing nowadays. So, how do you think? Do you think it will change anyway?
Yeah, I agree exactly. It was about to say the same thing. I think that just the ability to see and surface data at scale on these
Hmm.
topics, to me, is what will be the beginning of the change, right? Obviously, you need human behavior to change to make these real changes, but the accessibility, the access of tools, the accessibility to data, and also just what we've learned about humans and human nature, and a lot of the research that's been done that's fueling a lot of these models and technologies today. I think the more the better things become, and the more obvious things become. And so I really do believe that with more access to information, tools, and technologies, we will start to see overall improvements in health for sure. Obviously, you and I are people that really live and breathe it. So,
Hmm.
I feel like it's just everywhere today. But that's also because that's what, we love to learn about.
Yeah, personally, I think it's already increasing. I think I see more and more people nowadays getting into fitness and taking their health more serious. Not just fitness wise, but also just their general health. Eating better, taking vitamins, going for walks, just staying active. I feel like to me, and it may just be a side effect of being in the fitness industry, like you mentioned, but I feel like more and more people are getting into it, and I think it's due to some of these all this data coming out now from all the AI. So I think it's already starting to have that effect, and I think it's just going to keep growing and scaling as we get more into the weeds of it.
Yeah, I agree. And you can tell that that is true just by all of the amazing brands that are emerging in health wellness.
Hmm.
Like ice baths. I saw you did a podcast on that recently. Like that was not even a thing a couple of years ago. Now there's, a dozen brand new companies with different tools. Saunas are a big thing. And so you can see that, there is consumer sentiment and investment being made into these brands, into, you know, much bigger health and wellness tools and, things than there were 10 years ago. And so I agree. I think the market is just getting bigger. And I think too, the younger demographics also, see a lot more, read a lot more, and really care and are into it. It kind of goes back to what we were saying. Like there's so many different ways to be healthy and exercises to be done. And so there really is something for everybody. And so now with accessibility and, and also marketing algorithms on Facebook and otherwise that are telling you what you must buy today, I think for sure, it's much more part of our culture than maybe it was 20 plus years ago.
Yeah, you definitely notice the younger generation is more into their health, and I think people are starting to see kind of one, they're seeing how your health can take a toll on you like later in your life. But I feel like a lot of new things are people are opening their eyes more about what they're eating, like what foods they're putting in their mouth, probably with all the processed foods and things. I know you're starting to see countries and states ban like the dyes that's in food. So like even the government's coming around to it more about like what foods are actually good for you or not good for you. So I think all that kind of plays into it. And now, like you said, the younger generation is starting to be more health conscious. You're starting to see health grocery stores, so like the Whole Foods, you're seeing all that. So I think it's all good, and I think it's gonna keep growing. And hopefully we'll just, hopefully by the time we're older, everybody will be in some way of working on their health. So I
Yeah,
think that's a
that's
good thing.
that's the hope. I share that hope.
So speaking of another emerging technology is virtual reality. So how do you see virtual reality combined with like AI and fitness? Because I know they already have some like fitness classes that you can take on virtual
Mhm.
reality. Do you see does AI kind of merge with that in any way?
Yeah, I think it certainly does. I've spent many years of my career in health and fitness and wellness and technology, and so I've seen uh, and been talking about VR, AR, and fitness for a few years. I'm not yet sold on that. I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, human connection and just doing things for yourself versus strapping on, the VR
Hmm.
headset and doing things. I think, to me, that's never going to be a core use case of how people consume fitness content. I think it's fun, like anything. You do Dance Dance Revolution with your family, or put on the VR and do a quick little workout. I think it's good. I don't ever see that being a core element to how people work out, but maybe I'm old school. I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I don't see I see virtual reality more on like the video game side of things.
Yes,
And I
agreed.
also see where it could be beneficial in like engineering. So like buildings and things like that. I can see how it could be useful there. But I don't see it kind of coming into the fitness space and making like a big stand. I'm
Yeah,
actually go ahead.
I also have a gripe with putting on a headset and having like a sweaty head under it, but maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I very much feed off of other people's energy, so I like to be in the gym personally. I actually have a garage gym. I have like a full, not a full gym, but I have a pretty good set of gym in my garage, and I still go to the actual gym and train more than I train at home, just because I like that. I like the connection. Even if I have my headphones in and I'm not talking to anybody, I still just like being in there, being around everybody, and it's the atmosphere. So like when I'm at the gym, that's all I'm doing. Like all I'm there for is to get a workout in, to work on me, to do whatever I'm working on at that time. That's all I'm doing. I'm not focused on anything else. So I very much prefer being in a gym around other people. Like the virtual reality would not be a good fit for me. If I had to like, I couldn't do it. If you told me to do it for 30 days, like I probably would fail. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, like we said, there's something for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Some people will probably like we kind of mentioned the people that are intimidated by it. They may would prefer
Exactly.
something like that. So
And in some ways, the gamification of it is a great place to start. So what we're talking about, people in the beginning of their fitness journey to maybe putting on the headset and doing Beat Saber is tons of fun. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't even realize I was working out. And then,
mhm.
the next version is something else for them. I think that it's a great tool to maybe unlock fitness for some people, um, or it's just a fun game. But it doesn't do it for me either in general, but I think it's fun. I think it's exciting. I've definitely played Beat Saber, but we'll see kind of where VR for fitness can truly evolve. I know Zwift is doing some pretty cool stuff with gamification for
Mhm.
long distance cycling, and that's pretty cool too. So I think there's definitely a space for it, but I don't see kind of VR and AI ever overtaking the way that consumers really think about and consume fitness content.
So does the Fitness AI app do anything with nutrition? So are y'all writing any nutrition plans and things like that? I know you're already kind of doing the
Not
workout
today.
space. Say
Not
what now?
today.
Not yet. Yeah. So typically, I think like personal trainers they'll even if there are still like actual personal trainers, I think they're going to use AI in there to help them with their workouts
They
and
should.
and the nutrition right nutrition plans and things. So it's you either like if you're a personal trainer and you're not using AI, you're probably gonna end up getting weeded out. You're probably going what's the word for it? You're gonna get weeded out eventually, and the people that are using AI are gonna kind of take over. So that's how I kind of see what's it called, programming. That's how I see programming in the future. Like everybody's gonna use AI to do all their programming for people.
And it should be a tool, right? Like you were talking about your mom with her lesson plans. It's a tool to enhance the deep knowledge that personal trainers have, and that your mom has deep knowledge of training or of programming classes, right? It's the same sort of thing. I think with nutrition, it's actually a really interesting complement for an app like ours, and it's something we see as a big opportunity is to integrate that type of technology for personalized nutrition. And so that's something, we don't have it quite today, but it's definitely on the whiteboard.
How do you see gyms using AI like in the public gyms? How do you see that coming about in the future?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's something I've thought a bit about. You're starting to see like kind of the bigger premium gyms like Equinox start to play around with how to integrate technologies into the experience. And so I think there's a ton of opportunity there. And I think that big box gyms have been hesitant to go down technology paths
Mhm.
to date just because of, their core value to their users as being a place for people to go and you swipe in, you swipe out, maybe you take a class. But I think that we're starting to see the more premium gyms start to integrate technologies a bit more, so I think you'll certainly start to see that evolve, whether that's enhanced AI training programs, whether that's a nutrition thing, whether that's scheduling, whether that's because some of the biometrics and body mechanic thing that we talked about earlier. um, Again, sky's the limit. It's just who will be at the forefront of that, and when do we actually start to see it in action.
Yeah, I could definitely see some of your instructor led classes being led by AI instructors. You kind of already see that a little bit with Peloton. I know they're not using AI instructors; they're using actual instructors. But
Yeah.
I could see them using AI to do things like that too, because then you could do a different workout every single day, and you would never need a new instructor. So I
Mhm.
think you could do some really cool things with those kind of instructor led classes, like the Zumba classes, the hit classes, and things like that. So I think that may be one way we see AI in the future. And then also another thing that's not really AI, but I've already seen in gyms now is now some of the machines they have in gyms will actually count your reps for you. So I think that's pretty
Mhm.
cool. So I think you could kind of maybe you could integrate AI in those machines somehow of telling you like, hey, you should do this much weight for this many reps on your next set, and it could kind of adjust it for you on the fly. So I think that may
Mhm.
be some cool ways to go in the future.
Yeah, and we saw a few companies like Tonal and Tempo really pop off during
Hmm.
COVID. They got a ton of funding, grew really quickly, and they have some really cool things like you're describing there implemented into their technologies. I think the market has cooled off on that a bit, after their COVID peaks, but I love
Hmm.
that implementation in gyms and just in machines, and that's where we'll start to see these incremental um, implementations where it's you start to see technology and AI AI without even realizing it's really AI pop up in these places like the machines at the gym.
Yeah, I thought the tonal machines were pretty unique, but I
Mhm.
feel like people don't even use them no more. They were just locked up in the house. They didn't have a choice. But as soon as people got the chance to get back in the gym, I think they kind of
Yeah,
started shifting back.
I've got a few friends that still use them. I think it's
Hmm.
easy to go downstairs and do a quick workout with your tonal.
Hmm.
For people that are busy and on the go. Same with the Pelotons. Um, but for sure,
Yeah,
there was a moment.
I actually really like the Peloton. So
Same.
I have the bike and the treadmill in my garage. That my wife loves them. She uses them a lot,
Same.
but I also use them a lot as well for my endurance training. So I use the bike a lot for my Ironman, and then now I'm running a lot with the treadmill. So I really enjoy the instructor led classes that they have on that.
Same.
So I think that's pretty unique. And they figured out the perfect time. Like Peloton got big right at the right time, but I know now they've had some kind of decline in sales and things lately.
Yeah,
But
they
I'm
have,
sure
but
they'll.
what I will say is their quality of content has been consistent. They
Oh
have
yeah.
top-notch instructors, top-notch
Hmm.
classes. They keep it interesting. The music's amazing. They keep coming out with different modalities. And so from a like their content playbook is amazing. They haven't quite figured out. I'm sure you follow their their stock price and the headlines, but they haven't quite figured out the hardware element of it. And I think that's what's been a drag for them. Um, but their content to me is top notch.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. When I get off the bike after doing a 30-minute class, I'm dead. Like I don't want to do nothing else. And I
Are you a
was
Matt
never.
Wilpers guy?
I don't remember. I don't remember their names. I can't remember. I'm not into it as much as my wife is. I a lot of
Okay.
times I'll just do my own workout on there, but I
Yeah.
do use the class sometimes, and they'll get you. I never did any cycling before, so never did any spin
Oh, interesting.
classes or anything until my wife got it because she wanted to use it for exercise,
Yeah.
and then right after we got it is when I started training for my Ironman. So I started using it too, and I quickly fell in love with it. Like I love the spin bike now. I use it all the time in my
Great.
training. So I think Peloton, they got it figured out. They got, like you said, they do got to figure out the hardware side of things. I think they're going to have to be a little more accessible to lower income families. I know they're meant for more expensive, which their quality is top notch too. Like all their equipment is very, very high quality, but that comes at a price. So you got to meet in the middle somewhere.
For sure. We'll let those execs figure that one out.
So do you have any, before we get off here, I don't want to take too much of your time up, but do you have any advice for those kind of fitness professionals, the personal trainers that we were talking about, that may be kind of worried about AI right now? They may think, hey, I may lose my job or I may not have any clients if this AI keeps coming and taking over everybody. So do you have any advice for those people?
Yeah, I think the question to be asking themselves is how can I leverage technology to make my business better? So whether it's what tools can I use to help me track and plan my clients' programs and routines, or what plugins can I be using to help me come up with better, more interesting nutrition programs? What ways can I make accountability interesting? I think, those that start to leverage technology and leverage AI and find that it can enhance and grow their businesses will be super successful. And, you'll always have your old school trainer that is there with his pad and his pen. But I think
Mhm.
that the ones that really embrace technology will be around forever and ever.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. So I think that's good. I'm personally don't do personal training. I've tried it before. It just wasn't really for me, but I still think there's a lot of room out there for personal trainers to grow and continue to have great success, even with the use of technology and AI. So uh, I
Yeah.
applaud them because they work hard. They're in the gym at like 4
Yeah, the
a.m.
hustle.
And they don't leave until 9 p.m. at night most of the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're a personal trainer, shout out to you. You're doing God's work out there, helping people get
Right.
fit.
It's
But yeah,
right.
that's I think that's about all I have for you. I want to
Awesome,
respect your
Murphy.
time
Well,
here.
thank you so much. It was a pleasure to chat on my favorite topic with you. So thanks for having me.
Of course, let everybody know where they can get all your the body scan, fitness AI. where can they get all that information at?
Yeah, for sure. Check us out, fitnessai.com. We're available in the App Store as well as on Android now. So no matter what type of phone you have, you're a green bubble or a blue bubble, we've got you.
So is the body scan is in the Fitness AI app? It's not two
Correct.
different apps.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's part of the app. It's all, we
Okay.
try to make it easy breezy. You get the app, it's all right there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining the podcast. I enjoyed our chat today. It's a very interesting
Likewise.
topic, and I see y'all are going to do big things in fitness. I can already tell. Y'all are going to. I'm gonna have to try the app out myself. I'm gonna have to give it a try and let it see what it comes up with some programming for me. So
Please
I'm
do,
I'm looking
Murphy.
into it.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. You have a good day.
Okay. Bye.